I'm tired.
The Late Morning Program with Namarasa podcast.
Behind you, Godhead.
We're live.
Hare Krishna, we're live.
Oh my gosh.
What did you just say, Sukhava Devi? You
We're
said
live and real.
we're live and real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, welcome to the Namarasa podcast, the number one Hare Krishna podcast in the universe. My name is Venkatapata Das. I'm going to be serving as the host today. Namarasa is with us. He is behind the camera. He's at the boards. He is the producer par excellence. And having him play that role allows us to do some fancy schmancy stuff in real time so that we can get this episode to everyone quicker. So we're hoping to get this out as soon as possible because time is of the essence.
Because people think that I have a whole crew. It's just me.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point. Yeah, it is. This is a very sort of shoestring mom and pop operation. And and so Nam is behind the scenes doing all the needful so that we can have this conversation. And I am so delighted because
Great.
I'm here with one of my favorite people.
One of my favorite peoples too. You.
This is so great, so wonderful to have you.
Yeah.
We are here with Sukhava Devi, disciple of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, wonderful Vaishnavi, teacher, guru. Shiksha Guru, special Shiksha Guru, super excellent special Shiksha Guru, not Diksha Guru, correct?
No,
You do not have Diksha disciples.
I don't want any.
You don't want any.
I don't want Diksha gurus.
You don't want any for yourself.
No, not for myself. Yes,
But
yes.
you're not against the idea and principle of...
No. Just
So-
not for me.
So should we talk about this a little bit? Because
Sure,
it is in the air, so to speak. And
Sure,
as
sure.
of this recording, we're right, like we
In the
just
middle of it.
we're in the middle of it, and there was just a decision that came down that was kind of disappointing to a lot of us. That does not recognize, with one exception, I think, but does not recognize Vaishnavi Diksha Guru. So yeah, what's your hot take on this?
Well, my big question is, it doesn't seem like there's that many against it, a pertinent few. And my question is, what are they afraid of? I mean, what are they afraid women Diksha gurus are going to do?
I mean, ruin the society,
Ruin the society?
cause us to become an Apasampradaya.
Apasampradaya? Are you kidding me?
Are these not founded fears? You don't think these are reasonable fears?
I think they're definitely afraid.
Yeah.
I think those men are definitely afraid, but I don't think they're founded fears. What do we have to fear? I mean, isn't Krishna, in control? Wasn't Prabhupada progressive? I mean, we think we're following Prabhupada, but he was like the most progressive, very progressive. He just kind of did whatever kind of came up, and he was like, okay, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this. And then he realized that half of the society is women. By the way, half the society is women, so are we not going to acknowledge the better half?
So let me turn the question around on you a little bit.
Okay.
What do you think they're afraid of? Do you have an answer to that question, or is that a rhetorical question, or do you have an answer in mind? What do you think they're afraid
Well,
of?
they're definitely afraid of something.
Yeah.
People don't do things like that unless they're afraid, and they don't threaten unless they're afraid.
Yeah.
People who threaten are afraid.
Yeah, we're going to jump around a little bit, but it reminds me so much of, there's one particular section in one of your books, and we'll talk about your books in just a few minutes, but there's one particular section where you offer, through the words of one of the characters, because you have these wonderful sort of parable type of, right, this framing, which I just thought was so brilliant, but in the words of one of the characters, you talk about how you sort of reframe the narrative of Kamsa as this sort of like
insecure.
this insecure kind of like man-child.
Exactly.
And I can't help but think of that now when you're talking about this fear. Yeah.
Exactly. Hiranyakashipu. Why was he afraid of a 5-year-old kid? Excuse me. Why was he afraid of a 5-year-old kid? Because he was insecure.
Yeah.
He was insecure.
Yeah. So you think it's maybe insecurity that's at the root of
Something like that, way deep down inside, and maybe they actually recognize that women are very powerful. Maybe they'll actually change things and maybe make things better.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't do much worse than what they've done, could we? I mean, really, I feel like we're a manufacturing machine. I even heard that one temple president in India said, when they built a bigger temple, how are we going to manage this? Well, we just need to make 80 more brahmacharis. I'm like, how do you make a brahmachari? But I'm sensing from what I see, they have all these programs in the colleges for men.
Right.
Men, they're called base or something like that, the bases. And they target young men in college who are, trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. And so, making more men devotees like an army, what are we trying to prove?
Right. It's a very sort of militaristic kind of motif, isn't it? It's
I
kind
don't
of
know
build
if
up the army. I mean, just the phrase that you used.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd use the word militaristic, but maybe trying to prove something, that we're the best organization in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's funny. And forgive me, like I said, fair warning to all the viewers. We are going to probably be jumping around quite
That's
a bit
okay.
here. But it's so hard not to when I'm sitting, across from you or beside you, and there's just so many different places we could go,
Okay.
and so much rich content here. But we both first connected at New Vrindavan.
Yeah.
And New Vrindavan is a big part of both of our respective histories.
Yes.
I'm wearing the New Vrindavan sweatshirt, a little cheeky.
Versus everybody.
That
was us.
That was the mood at one time for sure.
Absolutely.
So it's a little tongue in cheek. But the reason I'm bringing up New Vrindavan now is what you're saying. It reminds me of, and I don't know the precise year. I don't know if you remember this, but New Vrindavan once created this sort of like graphic, was like an illustration, and it was either like the Palace of Gold or maybe like the planned temple, but it was like a conveyor belt. Is this sounding familiar, or did I just dream this up?
It might have been, but it might have been the City of God.
Maybe it was the City of God.
Yeah.
New Vrindavan went through all these different iterations.
There would be more conveyor belt things on the City of God.
But it was a conveyor belt, and at one end of the conveyor belt, you had sort of, to use the terminology of the time, you had the karmis.
Yeah.
And then you saw them go in, and then there was like this big temple building, and then they were coming out like brahmacharis, you know?
Right, yeah.
And you get the point that they're trying to make in a way, but now looking back on that, that's a little cringy, right? And it feels like that's some of that same energy maybe is in this person's statement. They're like, oh, we'll just make 80 more brahmacharis.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the idea of making, mass producing.
Yeah. And I think sometimes the quality of relationships is sacrificed in the quantity of how many devotees we're trying to make. And then you come in, the men come in, and then they're there for a couple of years, and now you go out and make more brahmacharis, and go out and make more, and go out and make more. But who is maintaining and nourishing all of these devotees? Who is nourishing them?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's missing in the male perspective of ISKCON. Men are great at producing. They're great at producing. Who's maintaining and nourishing? Yeah. You can make more devotees, but who's maintaining the ones we already have? Who's doing that?
Yeah. I think your god sister Narayani Devi, who I also had an opportunity to chat with, I think she made a very similar point in terms of the need for more nurturing, nourishing, maintaining, right? I mean, not to fall back on tropes, but like that motherly, and then in her words, grandmotherly,
absolutely,
energy,
absolutely.
And there's an argument to be made that that's actually what's missing more than anything else.
It's so important, and I have spoken with a lot of men and brahmacharis, and they're almost like dying for some real connection, rather than just like the philosophical. Memorize the verses, do the program. Yeah. They're looking for somebody to really just talk to. Really.
Yeah. So much of your work currently is trying to serve that need, as far as I can understand. And so we'll talk about that. But can we rewind and zoom
go
back
wherever you want to go.
and we'll do the whole. Maybe we won't do like a full on how I came to Krishna consciousness, but take us back to what would it have been, the mid 1970s?
Yeah.
And your kind of initial contact with the path of bhakti.
Okay. So my initial contact was in 1971 when I was 18 and I was in college
Okay, and this was where?
in Penn State University.
All right.
Yeah. And so I had a friend, and we were in the dorm room doing what you do in the dorm rooms, smoking marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking to me.
I'd like to say to my 16-year-old daughter who's
Don't do
looking
that.
at colleges right now, that's not the only thing you can do in college, and nor is it expected of you. There are many different ways of experiencing college, but go on.
In the 70s, it was high.
It was probably,
Yeah, high level. But anyway,
Literally high
literally high. So he showed me this book, and I opened it up, and I saw these multiple heads and multiple arms and multiple legs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cosmic. This is so far out. And I read a few verses. I said, this is what I've been looking for. Where did you get this? And he told me he got it at the bookstore. And I went and bought 5 copies of that book. It was Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita.
Wow.
And I gave it to every one of my family
Bought
members.
5 copies.
I gave it to everybody for Christmas. I hadn't even read it.
And you grew up in a Christian family.
Yeah, my father was a minister, a Protestant minister.
So you're like, Merry Christmas,
Yeah, exactly.
Dad, Protestant minister, Dad,
Exactly.
and a copy
Come
of the
on,
Bhagavad
this
Gita.
is so cool. You check it out.
And how did they receive it?
I don't know. I mean, they received it. They didn't really ever talk about it. I tried to convince them. I was very fanatical. And this is my history in fanaticism. I know about fanaticism, and I know what fanaticism does, and it generally is counterproductive.
Yeah.
It generally pushes people away. It generally ruins relationships. It ruined a lot of my relationships. Luckily, I was able to heal them and repair them, but it really ruins a lot. And
Yeah.
it's a scary thing because Prabhupada was not fanatical. He was not fanatical. He was real. He was really depending on Krishna.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a big plan to build so much. He just knew that, I want to spread this movement. And he just said, okay, Krishna, how are we going to do that?
Yeah. It seems like there's something happens when you go from sort of intensity, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? I mean, I think, like you're bringing up the example of Prabhupada, and I would say in the best of ways, there was a certain intensity of devotion.
Yes.
But, how that intensity then can turn without maturity, perhaps.
Exactly.
To fanaticism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely, he had the maturity, and he was a little nervous when he left, thinking, what are these young people going to do? Because he knew they didn't all have that maturity.
Right.
I mean, how could they?
Yeah.
They were young.
But now this is 2026,
I know.
Sukhabha, David,
Yes.
looking back and saying, yes, I was fanatic. At the time, you didn't
I
have
had
that
no
self-awareness.
idea.
You just thought you were doing what you...
I was a good devotee.
Right.
I was good, and I didn't realize I did all the right things. I did everything I was told to do. I acted like a man so that I could be accepted. That's what you had to do to survive in New Vrindavan. You had to be almost like a man. And then 27 years later, I hit the wall, and I realized that I was just an insecure, self-righteous, arrogant, blind follower. That was it. That's a tough one to look at, but it was really important that I looked at it. Thank you, Krishna, for that hard time.
Okay, can we put on the imaginary shelf behind us, can we put that hitting the wall moment?
Yes.
Because I definitely want to come back to that.
All right.
But before we get there,
Okay.
trying to sort of
Go ahead.
hop along chronologically, 71 Bhagavad Gita,
Okay.
5 copies to your family.
I forgot where
That's
we
okay.
were.
That's okay. We don't have to go we don't have
Okay.
to be
Yeah.
so linear about it. But I'm just wondering, and then eventually you do land up at New Vrindavan, or you went through a series of temples?
So, no. I didn't even know that Prabhupada was existing, or exactly that there was an ISKCON. I didn't know what that was in 71. But I carried the Bhagavad Gita around with me. I read it. And then I met a friend in college who had also read the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And we used to talk a little bit. Then when I graduated from college, I moved in with him and some other friends from college together. Right. And so we were talking more about the Bhagavad Gita. And we went and we lived in North Carolina, and we went in town, and we found this book bin, and we found a Nectar of Devotion in the book bin, and we found a Back to Godhead magazine. And in that Back to Godhead magazine was a picture of New Vrindavan, and we liked to live in the country, and he loved to grow vegetables. And so there was a farm, and Krishna, and we were both chanting, so it was like, okay, that looks pretty good. And then in that, I think it was in that same magazine, showed how to make japa beads. And so I made our sets of beads out of purple fuchsia beads. And we started chanting on beads, and we were vegetarians already. So we just started just kind of following all that stuff. And then we stopped taking drugs, and that was an interesting experience. And then we realized, I guess we'll have to find some new people to hang out with, because this isn't really working for us anymore. Yeah. So then we hitchhiked to New Vrindavan, but we only got as far as Harrisburg, and then nobody would pick us up because he looked like a hippie.
Right.
So then we went to New Vrindavan in 1974 in August.
Yeah.
2 weeks after Prabhupada came.
It's a fascinating story. There's so much detail. And for our viewers out there who want the sort of the fuller...
The depth.
The fuller picture, the depth, I highly encourage. This is, we'll talk more about your other books as well, but this is in some ways, right, the most sort of personal autobiography. I mean, this is your memoirs, essentially, yeah?
It's a partial memoir, yeah.
Partial memoir. What to Do About Sue.
Yes.
Right? And you do go into very...
explicit detail.
Explicit, very well-written, very colorful detail about those early days. I want to fast forward now a little bit.
Should we just say something about the deprogramming?
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I want. That's where I wanted to go to, because a big part of this book, both in terms of the narrative, but also kind of processing and unpacking it, is the story of your deprogramming.
Yeah,
and believe it or not, we may have viewers who don't even know what that word means, because it's such a, in a sense, it's almost like a archaic or, right? Obsolete word. Yeah. But could you walk us through that a little bit and then even define?
Yeah. So I was a hyped up new devotee, and I was excited with the absolute truth that I had found that I had been really looking for my whole life. And Christianity gave me part of that, but it didn't give me the whole story. And so I was so excited about it. I wanted to share it with my brothers and my mother and my father and my sisters. And I was a bit over the top. And my mother was a bit worried about me. She was a worrier anyway. But and so, it's not just my story. It's my mother's side of the story and my side of the story about what happened and how I occurred to her and how she occurred to me. And you
interviewed your mother for this, or this was based on memories?
No, what happened was 20 years after the deprogramming, my mother wanted to write this book. She wanted to write the book about, what happened. So she told me to write down all my memories, and she wrote down all of her memories. But then she never wrote the book.
But what a cool, how amazing that she even had that idea. And what a great exercise to do that.
Yeah. She was an English teacher, and she liked to write. And so... and
you didn't look at each other. You wrote
separately.
Independent of each other.
Separately, yeah.
So you really get a sense of how you were experiencing it, how she was experiencing it at the exact same time.
And so then she didn't get to write that book. And then she left her body. And my father had saved up all of those documents, and he gave them to me.
Yeah.
And when COVID happened, I was working on the other two books, and I'm like, hey, perfect time. I got all the materials. This book shouldn't be so hard to write.
Yeah.
And so I just put it together, and I integrated the two pieces instead of just all her side and my side. It was back and forth.
It's a conversation. So it's written as a kind of a conversation,
Yeah.
of sharing notes, sharing experiences.
Yes, and how fanatical I was, and how obsessed she was, and how that didn't really work out very good for the two of us.
Yeah, you don't pull any punches, which I really appreciate as a reader. And right, you both sort of you know, in the book, you both sort of own up to what were your own blind spots, or what was kind of contributing to this growing tension. So she's a worrier. You're, by your own admission, in this kind of fanatical space.
Yep.
And it's sort of things are reaching an inevitable
Something
boiling
had to
point,
happen.
right?
Yeah.
Something has to happen.
Yeah.
And so what is that something that happens?
Oh, something that happened? Well, my mom kept praying, give me a sign, God, if I'm supposed to do this or not, because she was going back and forth, and my father was going back and forth.
Hang on, what is this though? Let's
The deprogramming.
Deprogramming.
Yeah, yeah.
And just a sentence or two for those who are
Yes.
too young.
Yes.
Which is a good thing, right?
Yeah,
I'm glad
they don't know
that
about it.
deprogramming is a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But please, yeah.
Well, in deprogramming, you're taken against your will to some place.
Kidnapped, essentially.
Kidnapped, exactly. That's what it is. You're kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
Taken against your will and locked up in some place where you can't get out. And then you have to talk to these people who are going to deprogram you, or what I would say is brainwash you. And not brainwash like Prabhupada meant brainwashing, but like really like the prisoners of war who turn their back and become an enemy, or like, what's the other one?
I think they even call it like re-education. Like they have re-education.
Yeah.
Like you're being re-educated, rehabilitated,
Yes.
but it's a kind of a brainwashing.
It was mind rape.
Wow. That is, yeah.
That's what it was.
And
Anyway.
these are and these are people who hold themselves out to be like experts. They're not, let's be clear, these are not sort of trained, qualified therapists.
No, but they did know something about how to manipulate and how to, break somebody down.
And a lot of these people were former members of other groups, other cults or cultic groups themselves, who then pay it forward.
Yes.
by
Yes.
deprogramming it. And just to close a loop on this, the whole kidnapping happens because the person being deprogrammed, their parents, their loved ones, someone
pays money.
Big
money.
So this is a business. They're hiring these kidnappers to kidnap you, take you, isolate you, and
The deprogrammers don't kidnap you. Your parents kidnap you, because you're much less likely to sue your parents than somebody you don't.
And you're a grown adult at this time,
I'm
right?
22.
You're 22, so you're a legal adult, but your parents, under this misguided notion or whatever, with worry, and we can, the book goes into all the nuances of why and how, and it's not at all a black and white kind of right and wrong story. There's lots of shades of gray.
A lot of shades of gray.
But you were actually kidnapped.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, I know it's in the book, but just paint us a picture if you would.
Oh gosh.
I mean, if you'd like to. If not, we can move on.
You could just read the back.
Should I read the back?
Go ahead.
Why don't you read it out first?
All right. Well, you read it because I can't see with my glasses.
All right. I'll read it out. I'll try to do my best here, but okay. On a backcountry road in the mid-'70s, a young woman dives over the front passenger seat and flings open the moving car's door to escape her confinement. Frantically, one of her abductors attempts to pull her back in, while the other kidnapper jumps out of the car to push her in from the outside. Outnumbered and overpowered, she is restrained. That young woman was me. This is your writing.
It's me.
That young woman was me. The kidnappers were my parents. This is our story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just like literally like that, right? It's like
they
a struggle. They're putting you into a vehicle, right?
No,
when we say
no.
when we say
It wasn't
kidnapping,
a struggle
we're not
to
talking.
get me into the vehicle.
Oh, it wasn't.
No. They got me into the vehicle because they said we were going to go shopping, and we went to town, and then we changed the car, and my mother was driving. It was a 2-door sedan. So my mother was driving, and my father said, "Why don't you get in the back and we'll talk?" And I had a good relationship with my dad. We talked a lot.
Yeah.
So I sat in the car and he was talking to me. He had just come to New Vrindavan a few months before and he seemed to like it. And so we were talking and talking.
So your alarm bells aren't going off at this point?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. And, and then I'm like saying, okay, well, it's time to go back to the temple. I have some things to do. And my dad said, we're not going back to the temple. And it just echoed in my ears like a bad drug experience. And I was just like, I flipped out. I just said, you're crazy. You are crazy. And yeah, it's all in there.
Yeah.
It was really, really, really intense. Yeah, really intense. And then when they were slowing down for a light, that's when I tried to escape. Yeah, but it didn't work.
But it didn't work. So you were actually kidnapped. How long did they?
Well, I can't tell you that because it doesn't give justice to what they did. Wow. If you give a time frame, it doesn't give justice to what I went through. People always say, "Well, how long did it take?"
Right.
And
it's not about the length of time. At that point.
No. But
I've heard I've heard others because I have actually talked to other devotees that were deprogrammed, and one of the things that comes up is like there's a sort of elasticity of time as well. With like a trauma like that,
forever.
Right? It's super traumatic.
Oh my
we're
gosh,
talking about.
super traumatic.
You don't have to answer.
I can.
And I know that this is going to be like a little bit of an unpopular question.
Okay.
But given the ups and downs and the craziness of New Vrindavan and so many things that came to light years later and looking back, how do you respond to someone that says, well, your parents actually may have had a point because things were kind of maybe a little bit, or a lot really unhealthy and maybe it was an extreme thing, but maybe they had a point.
I would say they kidnapped me in March of 76. And at that time, we were still under Srila Prabhupada and there was still a cap on things. Now, of course, Kirtanananda was in charge of the farm, and so he was our direct authority.
Yeah.
And I didn't really notice. I didn't notice, and I don't know that it was exactly a cult at that time. However, it just became a lot worse after Prabhupada left, and it just really, by that time we were all in it, and I think even the fact that they had me deprogrammed at that point, and then I did come back, had me be so resistant and angry at them, and fearful of them,
right.
that that almost solidified my I'm staying here. You're not telling me what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and again, I don't want to like spoil the story for anyone, but you do come back.
I do come back.
You do come back.
But yeah.
So it doesn't take, so to speak.
No, it took.
It took.
It totally took. I was totally out of it. I was totally.
But it didn't last.
Well, because somebody came and helped me.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
Okay.
I was raped, mind raped. I was like completely bewildered, spaced out. It took me about 6 weeks to write that little section. I had never written that section. When my mother asked me to write what I remembered, I didn't write anything about the actual deprogramming. And when people ask me about the actual deprogramming, I can't give it justice by just saying blah, blah, blah. So it took me 6 weeks to write that part.
Yeah.
And I had to do research, but I remembered a lot. Maybe not exactly the order, but I remembered things they said. I remembered it. It was like etched in my mind. It took me 6 weeks to write it, and then I didn't read that for another couple months. And when I read it, I got a tear in my eye, and I'm like, I think I touched on kind of what it was like to be deprogrammed. So,
do you think you made, just by writing it and by sharing that story, do you think you made peace with it, or do you ever make peace with it?
I totally made peace with it. I made peace with it before I wrote this. Yeah. I made peace with my parents in 2001, 2, and 3.
And that includes the deprogramming?
Yeah, but
because you repaired that relationship.
Yeah, I repaired that relationship in 2001, 2002, 2003. We were repairing our relationship.
Yeah.
I repaired the relationship. That's in the book too.
Yeah.
how that got repaired. Yeah. Yeah, no, I repaired it before I wrote that.
Yeah. Interestingly, and you write about this in the book as well. So we're just we're just teasing.
You really like this book, don't you?
I love this book. I love this book. This was one of my books that, so I've anyway, without going into detail, but I have these different reading habits. There's certain books that can read in certain ways at certain times.
Yes.
But this was the book that was like the bedside table book, what I call a bedside table book.
Yeah.
This was my bedside table book. And it was meant to be my bedside table book. And I had to force myself, the way like I force myself to not binge a certain show on Netflix or whatever, right? Because the temptation was to binge the book. And I wanted to be in integrity with like savoring it and reflecting and reading it reflectively. So I forced myself to read whatever it was, a chapter a night, but it was my bedside book and it really accompanied me. And I don't recall if it seeped into dreams. It might have, but no, I really did and do appreciate this book. One of the things, and again, I'm not going to go into so much detail, but one of the things I also appreciate, but is also complicated for me, is you bring up in the book aspects of the deprogram, not the deprogramming itself, not the being taken against your will or anything like that.
Well, I do bring those up too.
You bring those up, but what I mean is you take aspects, you talk about aspects of the deprogramming that later in life and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the way I remember reading it, that you drew on to help yourself I don't want to. I hate to say it like this, but to deprogram yourself.
Well, there was something about it because, and I didn't really get the benefit of the deprogramming until about 35 years after it happened.
Yeah, which I find fascinating, and also like,
did I write that in the book?
You did,
Okay.
or something.
Because I don't remember writing it.
You touch on it.
Okay. Yeah, I just was. I was in India, and I was just reflecting because by that time I had a realization that Krishna only does good, and there's a blessing in everything. So I was like, okay, Krishna, what was the blessing in the deprogramming?
Yeah.
Immediately I got the answer. The answer was because my identity was stripped away from me, like ripped away from me. And, my body, it did traumatize me for many years.
Yeah.
7 years I was afraid to be alone in a room with my parents, afraid to even be with them.
Sure.
So, but although they stripped my identity and I was traumatized, because my body and brain survived that identity crisis, like intense, later on when I was confronted by Krishna about my so-called identity as a good devotee, I could more easily look at it and peel the layers more easily because it was almost like a part of me, and I didn't do this consciously, but a part of me wasn't afraid that I was going to die if I lost the identity of who I thought I was as a good devotee. And so I could more easily peel the layers and look at things as they were, without feeling like an identity confrontation.
Yeah. And you feel like a time came where you were forced to do that, where Krishna created a situation where it was like
2001 started in 2001.
Started in 2001.
Yeah.
Is this the brick wall?
That's the
that we
brick
put
wall.
on the shelf?
That's the brick wall.
Should we go there now, or is there anything we want to talk about before we get there?
Let's talk about the brick wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
As much as you want to share.
Yeah. Well, I think, I do talk to other people that seem to kind of hit a brick wall. And to me, I think it has something to do with, maybe where we've come to in our past life, what we've, already started working on. And then there's a place where you hit a wall where there's stuff that you haven't worked on, like some scars that are really deep, cooked on, burnt on stuff on the bottom of the pot there that's been cooked on, and you can scrape and use the metal scrubbies and it's still there.
It's still there.
You kind of get to that point. And
wow, that's such a good image. I love that. What an analogy.
Yeah, so you get to that point, and it's like what you're doing to get to become a devotee, to be a devotee,
Yeah.
it only gets you so far. And then you got to really go inside and do that deep, deep, deep work, that deep clean, like cleaning the Gandhicha temple. It's like you got to get in all the nooks and crannies and what is really going on. Why am I really doing this? And what am I trying to prove? Am I trying to prove something? Am I justifying what I'm doing? And so, so the brick wall was when I hit menopause.
So you write about this in
Yeah.
the prologue to, and we can start talking about this amazing series of books.
Yes.
It's a 2-part series, Finding the Gap and Entering the Gap.
Yeah.
Which in some ways I think just is such an encapsulation of and a kind of tying together of so much of the work the healing work that you do.
All the mistakes I made.
Well, I don't know about that, but definitely sharing wisdom from lived experience. But you begin the prologue in this way that I remember when I first read this, I was just like, it's so bold. It's like no one talks about this.
They don't?
I don't think so. I was speaking with my wife about this also because she's now at a stage where, we're talking about like perimenopause.
Yeah.
Which no one talks about.
Yes.
But no one talks about menopause.
Yeah.
As far as I know. Or if they do, it's not in the way that you really sort of lay bare just what a kind of existential crisis this can be. I also love, by the way, that it starts with. It all started when Krishna threw me a curveball at the age of 47. I happen to be 47 right now, so I'm kind of like,
get ready.
Although, right, yeah, I know, sort of gender-wise, it shows up in different ways, but there's something really here, and I'm so, wow, just impressed with and like humbled by just how real you are here talking about this.
I think I think being real makes Krishna consciousness real.
I can't imagine the number of devotees and particularly maybe, Vaishnavis who read this and said, oh, thank God someone like said this out loud because this is what I've been feeling.
Yes, but there's a lot of men who like the books too.
Oh, I don't doubt it at all.
Yeah,
I don't doubt it at all. Yeah.
They're like brahmacharis are saying, I've been in the brahmachari ashram grappling with things for years, and you finally hit it on the head. Yeah. So I just think we don't talk about things, and we're not real. And how can you be realized if you're not real? How can you have real?
Say that one more time for us.
How can you be realized if you're not real?
Gosh, that's got to be one of those, right? Like put that on a t-shirt or a coffee mug or something. That's going to be a reel.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's not even an intended pun, but anyway. But let's go back to So this moment that you're talking about. So this is the brick wall. So physiologically, it's menopause.
Yes.
What else is going on in that moment? That's all connected because it's all connected.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the body, mind, and emotions. Everything's all connected. That's how Krishna made everything. He's brilliant, by the way. If anybody didn't notice, Krishna's pretty brilliant.
And then we spend a whole lot of energy and time insisting that he didn't make it that way, and that the physical doesn't matter and the emotional doesn't matter, and it's all about the spiritual. But anyway, we'll get there. But yeah, so it's all connected. So menopause.
So what happened is all the hormones are going crazy. I felt like I was 13 years old again, and every other word out of my mouth was a curse word. I lived in New York at the time, so the favorite curse word of New York. And, yeah, and I just, it was just everything made me angry. And I'm like, I'm a devotee. I'm not supposed to be angry. So what's wrong with me? What happened? I did everything right. I should be a pure devotee by now. Really? What? Krishna? And I was so angry at Krishna. I'm like,
why are you doing this to me?
What? What do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want? And I wanted to kill myself. I was just so frustrated. It was like, I want out. I want out.
And this is after what, almost 3 decades?
Yeah, 27 years.
Of just day after day.
Doing the right things and working really hard.
Working it, right? Like doing
18-hour days, no vacations.
And we haven't even talked about, we don't need to, necessarily, but we could do a whole podcast on what that meant.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of in New Vrindavan, after New Vrindavan. We're not talking about work in a... No. Work means this is...
Yeah, I'm telling brahmacharis, you got it easy.
Yeah.
You think your life is hard?
Yeah, that's not hyperbole or exaggeration. No, this is real.
Yeah.
So you slogged it out, And also, by the way, spiritually, right? Like you did
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do. You're chanting. You're doing,
yeah.
and you're hitting this wall.
I was a
And
good devotee. What happened,
Yeah.
Krishna? Yeah, and so I just and I didn't get really much help from anybody in the temple I was living in at that
what
time.
was the response among your fellow devotees?
You're in Maya, and I'm like, no kidding. You think I don't know I'm in Maya? You think I don't
Yeah.
know that? I know I'm in Maya. Tell me something that's going to help me out of this. Well, just chant more. I am. It's not working. Yeah, and so yeah. A friend of mine had recommended me doing this one course, which, is also controversial sometimes in our movement.
Yeah.
But she had talked to me about it before, and I was like, no, I got Krishna. I don't need anything outside.
Right.
But then her daughter was going to take the course, and her daughter was already kind of having some awakenings before she even took the course. And I thought, hey, heck, I got nothing to lose. I'm losing everything right now. I'm losing my husband. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my cool. What do I have to lose? What the heck? And then my friend said he'd pay for it. So it's like, I don't even have to lose any money. So, yeah, I'll go for it.
Right.
Yeah, and that kind of opened up my mind. Like it just kind of opened me to a new perspective that, and a lot of the courses that I took over the years and the classes that I took, they're saying what we say in our books in the Bhagavad Gita, but it's different languaging.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of sinks in deeper. So I was like, oh, yeah, that's what that means. And that's why I could connect it to Krishna consciousness, because that's what I was doing when I was taking the course. Oh, yeah, that has validity. Okay, that has truth to it. And I really do feel like our whole life is one identity crisis after another. We don't know who we are. I have no idea who I am.
But
So-
Mataji, then we find Krishna consciousness and it answers all the questions.
Yeah, then I think I'm a devotee.
Then you're a devotee. And
Yeah, but that's not who I am either.
don't we, what more do we need?
Well, I don't know what my relationship to Krishna is exactly. I don't know that identity. And there's not only one way to be a devotee.
Right.
There are so many
Yeah.
different types of devotee. I mean, there are grass devotees, there are flower devotees, there are mountain devotees, there are so many different there are Ram Bhaktas, there are Nishinga Bhaktas. There are so many different kinds of devotees. There are people who love Vaikuntha. There are so many different kinds of devotee. There's not just one kind of devotee. And so I don't know who I am, but little by little, I didn't bring my prop, but anyway, there are so many identities that we go through, and we keep adding more identities on top of who we don't know that we are, and we keep adding.
Right.
We try to keep fixing who we are that we don't like, and we keep fixing it, and then we try to keep fixing it, and we add like at least 6 layers on top.
Yeah. And of course, I'm being facetious just in case anyone was confused out there, because the fact of the matter is, like, I can say all I want, like, oh yeah, I figured it out. I'm,
Yeah,
Nitya Krishna Das. That's my identity.
And that was my identity. And the reason I held on to that
Yeah.
identity so long was because I was so insecure. I didn't realize I was insecure. Did I say that when I said insecure? I did say insecure.
Yeah.
I was so insecure.
Yeah.
And so my mind was just all over the place. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Right.
Tell me the right thing to do. I want to do the right thing. Just tell me the right thing and I'll do it. And so that box of New Vrindavan became my security. I knew what to do. I knew what was right.
Because someone was just telling you what to do.
Exactly.
As long as you had the authority telling you what to do.
Yes, and as long as I trusted the authority. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, even if I didn't exactly trust them, I trusted the New Vrindavan group.
Mm-hmm.
So that box, that identity, and we have identity crisis after identity crisis after identity crisis, and then on top of all those, we put the identity of a devotee.
Yeah.
Now I know who I am. Now I know who I am.
But we haven't actually worked on all that other stuff. It's just putting something on top of a bunch of stuff that we haven't actually worked through, right?
Exactly. And then there's, and I have these nesting dolls that I show. And when I get down to it, there's this layer and this layer. And then when I get in, here's this little soul inside that's buried under all these layers, suffocating.
Wow.
Our poor soul. We should be kind to our soul.
Suffocating our souls. Suffocating ourselves, really.
Yeah. Our real self.
Our real self.
Yeah. By putting on so many layers.
And this taking part in this course that kind of gave this seemingly outside perspective, but it allowed you to sort of make those connections. And
it was a new perspective of life. And it helped to Krishna had shattered my box. I couldn't even glue it back together. It was in smithereens. So I just started being a little open-minded, just a little bit. But then I started seeing things that I didn't see when I was locked in the box. Mm-hmm. I started seeing things outside of the box that I couldn't see from inside of the box. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, wow, that doesn't work. And that doesn't work. And, I'm telling myself this, but, that's not really what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And so, just being honest. And the big, my favorite word.
Do I? What, you're putting me on the spot. What's your favorite word?
Integrity.
Integrity, of course.
So,
oh, gosh. I just had flashbacks to when we were on the board of the Bhakti Center together. That's right. So integrity.
Integrity really, really keeps us straight.
Yeah.
And, when we...
And what does integrity mean to you?
Integrity means, really being... truthful in more than one way. It means saying what you mean and meaning what you say. And so even if I can't keep integrity with one little thing, like what time I'm going to meet you, if I can't keep integrity with a little thing, how am I going to keep integrity with my lifelong vows?
Yeah.
How am I going to do that? Because I don't even have a foundation of integrity with, it doesn't matter. Well, then pretty soon nothing matters. Right. And that happened in New Vrindavan, which, you can lie for Krishna. Okay, you can lie and you can
once
lie.
Once you start that slippery slope of justification.
Well, the white lies, and then, all of a sudden in 2005, I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't come to Krishna consciousness to be a liar and a cheater and a fraud. I didn't come to Krishna consciousness. How did I get here?
Yeah.
And it starts with the tiny little lies we tell ourselves and we tell other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, and you don't think it's a big deal. Oh, it's not a big deal. Oh, we tell the boys not to tell their parents they're coming to the temple because then their parents won't let them come. This is in India.
Yeah.
And in one class I said, so you're teaching them to lie. And they said, but Mataji, if they tell their parents, then their parents won't let them come. I said, so you're teaching them to lie. And then they said it one more time, and I said, so you're teaching them to lie. It takes a while to get it, but that white lie, what does it say in the Bhagavatam about lying? Even Sudras don't lie. Now, Vaishyas may a little bit, but even Sudras don't lie. Kshatriyas don't lie. King Yudhisthira, he told his enemies. If they asked him a question, he told them the truth.
Yeah.
So,
So what is
integrity.
Integrity.
So the integrity gives us a strong foundation on which to be real. Mm-hmm. On which to be real.
Well, it kind of goes back to that, right? Like, how can we be realized if we're not real? And I think in a similar, or maybe the sort of the flip of that is, I think for so long in our movement, right, the line was, we don't have to worry about all this mundane stuff because we're transcendental, right? But transcendental, correct me if I'm wrong here, if you have a different idea of this, but transcendental
doesn't mean transgressing the laws.
It doesn't mean transgressing. It means we should be so exemplary that we're open to something even beyond that, right?
And people want to join just because we're so exemplary.
Yeah.
Yeah, not court cases after court cases.
But we have this persistent thing of just somehow we don't have to worry about that stuff. And I imagine you get this also, sometimes like why put so much energy into all this? This is just mode of goodness stuff. This is just mundane. This is, right?
Well, I heard that we had to come to the mode of goodness before we could get to Suddha Sattva. Wasn't that true? That we have to come to the mode of goodness before we get to Sudasattva?
Yeah, but also when we take to Krishna consciousness, you automatically develop all good qualities, no?
Okay.
I mean, I'm being, again,
I got
facetious
it.
because
I got it. I got it.
Definitely, you have a great response in
Well,
here.
and I tell people that chanting Hare Krishna is like making ghee, okay? You make ghee, you have to turn the heat on really low. Otherwise, you'll burn it. But we usually try to turn the heat on full blast because I want the ghee right. I want to be pure
We're impatient.
right away.
We're like, yeah.
So you have to turn on really slowly. And then I say, so when you make the ghee, you're turning it on. So what comes up to the top?
Yeah.
What comes up?
The impurities.
Okay, the impurities. But then when we're a devotee and we see the impurities coming up, what do? We stir them back in.
Ah.
My gosh, that shouldn't be
I don't
there.
want to see that.
Exactly.
That's-
and we stir it
yeah.
in and then we wonder, what's taking so long? Excuse me.
Oh, that's another good one. Wow. So we're stirring the impurities in,
Back in.
and we don't get it, so we're complaining. We're like, why is this taking so long?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're messing up the process.
Self-sabotage.
The process, right?
Yeah,
And theoretically, we kind of like, in theory, we know this, right? Anartha
Yeah.
nivritti.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you pick up,
Yeah.
But
What does that mean in
what does that
reality?
mean in reality? What are you supposed to do when those anarthas come bubbling up?
Exactly. That's what the second book talks about.
Yeah.
The second book is all about the anarthas, which I don't even call anarthas.
Right. Yeah. Tell us about that reframing
Because
language.
anarthas are so scary. They're big demons. Oh my gosh, they're so scary. And then even the false ego, ahankara, it's like so huge. It's like a big dark cloud, and we don't even know where to start. So forget it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the anarthas is like, I don't want to be seen as a demon, you know? And the big thing that covers us is shame.
Yeah.
We're hiding our shame, and that shame comes as soon as we come to the material world. Lord Brahma covers us. What does he cover us with? Self-deception.
Self-deception.
And fear of death. And we get so attached to our little identities that we think we are.
Yeah.
It's like almost worse than death to let go of that identity.
The lies we tell ourselves.
The lies we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
And dishonor is for men. I don't know if it's for man or for men. Dishonor is worse than death.
Yeah.
And I think it's especially true for men.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'd rather keep the facade.
Well,
than...
and not even like, you're not even thinking that you're even keeping the facade. That's how deep self-deception is.
Right. I'm not even thinking of it as a facade
It is
because
not a
I
facade.
bought my own.
Exactly. This is
Right.
this is who I am.
Yeah.
Can't you see who I am?
Right. It's kind of terrifying.
It's very terrifying.
Yeah.
And that we're so terrified we won't look at it.
So what do we do?
We don't look at it generally
Yeah.
until Krishna gives us some hit the wall thing. And then we really get down on our knees and start praying
Yeah.
and looking for a deeper answer.
Yeah.
And it comes.
Yeah.
It comes when we're ready, or when we're not ready. Usually when we're not ready, it comes. And those these are the blessings that nobody wants. When people ask for blessings, they want health, wealth, fame, followers, money. They want everything to go good.
Yeah.
But the real blessings are when things fall apart. Because then you got to get down on your hands and knees and ask Krishna, what do you want? What do you want from me? And that's a really...
Yeah. Which is actually what our theology is.
Isn't it?
But it's also like the most terrifying thing in
It
the world.
is.
Yeah.
But when you go to those places, it's so real. It's so real. And it does feel excruciating. I'm not going to say it's not painful. It's excruciating. But it's so real, and you feel closer to Krishna than you felt when everything was going fine, because you're like on your knees.
Is that Draupadi throwing her arms up? Is that...
Something like that.
Because we read these stories.
I know.
And are
What do
we
you
really
think?
like...
Do we know that,
Is that
that's
Gajendra?
us?
Is that right?
Yeah,
like you think of these... I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence, right? These stories in the Bhagavatam, one after the other, where people are in these great devotees are in
Right. Great
excruciating distress.
Excruciating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I wouldn't wish it upon everybody. However, it's sometimes the way somebody like me who's hard-headed and hard-hearted needs to learn it. It
Yeah.
sometimes comes in painful ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, this might be a little bit of a tangent, but I remember years ago, a godbrother of mine asking, so Radhanath Swami gave a Bhagavatam class and was referencing Queen Kunti's famous prayers for calamities to befall her.
Be careful about that one.
And one of my godbrothers, asked like something to the effect of, how can we, how can we embrace this prayer? How can we pray for calamities? He was like kind of almost like,
I want to get there faster. Let's turn up the heat.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if enthusiasm was the word, but it was like, yeah, Maharaj, like what's the secret to like pray for calamities, And Radhanath Maharaj, as I remember his answer, and really struck me, paraphrasing a little bit, but his answer as I heard it was, we don't have to pray for calamities the way Kunti Devi, we're not at that level, but we can pray to recognize and turn to Krishna in the calamities that are coming anyway.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Because whether we pray for them or not, they're coming.
And if we can't deal with the little calamities that come to us every day, how are we going to deal with the big calamity?
Yeah. So we can kind of performatively say, we can quote, Kunti Devi's prayer, but like, how are we doing on those calamities?
How are we doing on the little steps? Integrity. We got to practice on the little calamities. How are we going to get to those big ones?
Or the brick walls that we hit when we
walls.
Get into our 40s, or when, whatever the particular catalyst is, because the catalyst is going to be different, right? It's not going to happen the same way for everyone.
For everybody. No, it could be anything. It could be death, sickness. It could just be loneliness.
Yeah.
It could just be so many things.
So one of the things that I think is
I didn't. Go ahead.
No, please do.
I didn't say why I call them. I don't call them anartists.
Oh yes, please. Yes, let's continue that.
Yeah, because they're big and ugly and scary.
Right.
So I call them habits. Habitual anarta beliefs, and then the invisible trickster, which is the mind, and then shame.
Yeah, so HABITS. So by the way, the book, if you're into what is it called, acronyms?
Yes.
You're going to get,
a couple of
treats in here. But,
yeah.
So habits. So say it again for us slowly. HABITS.
Habitual anarta beliefs. Invisible trickster, that's the mind, and shame.
And shame.
All together.
So when that conglomeration is what in our tradition we often refer to as anartha.
Yeah, and anarthas are simply habits that we learn to survive our childhood, pretty much. We learn things to survive whatever we went through in our childhood.
Coping mechanisms, right?
Yeah. And a lot of us learned people pleasing.
Sure.
And then you and submissive people pleasing with your parents, and then you come to the movement, and oh my gosh, you're perfect setup for a perfect storm there.
Yeah.
Be a people pleaser and just go in there and dive in, and you're going to be a pure devotee really soon because you're such a good devotee.
Yeah.
And then then you don't realize that there's more to it than meets the eye.
Yeah. But it's those kind of habits. Formed in this life, coming over from previous lives?
Yeah, from previous lives.
So both?
Yeah, so both.
But then, there's the mind, which you talk about as
I talk about the mind and the false ego in the first book.
Right, and that's the invisible...
The myths, the mind, invisible trick. Oh, the invisible trickster is not the mind. The invisible trickster is the false ego.
The false ego.
Yeah.
False ego.
The mind, invisible trickster, and then habits and shame. So they're both connected. The habits and the false ego are connected. Like you can't tell the difference between them.
Yeah.
And so they it's like such a tangled mess. How are we going to undo this mess?
Yeah.
I'm just going to chant. It's just going to automatically unravel and just disappear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good luck on that one.
I love so much about that reframing. I love the fact that it's recognizing the multiplicity of factors at play rather than just saying, because I think sometimes, I know for me, sometimes I can just fall back on this very sort of flat, generic version of anartha is just this thing.
It's just this thing, and then we don't get into it.
We don't get into it. But I love the reframing helps me to see it as something more dynamic.
Yeah.
But it also helps me to see it as something that actually feels like workable.
Yes,
in a way.
breaking it down into smaller pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
okay, I could do a little bit of that and a little bit of that. I could look at that. Yeah, you got to break it down into smaller pieces. Otherwise, it's just too big. You don't even know where to start. And so you don't,
Yeah.
generally. I mean, not you, but we.
We don't. Yeah. One of the things that I was just thinking about, and I'm sort of still forming this, so it may be a little bit of a word jumble right now, but one of the catalysts to doing the work, right? So you talked about Krishna kind of like forcing us to see what we need to see, or
At some point.
the brick wall or the calamities, whatever, and that's certainly a part of it. I wonder though if that alone. I wonder if that alone, for many of us, can is enough to get us to actually start working on this stuff. But what I'm thinking is that combined with some courageous voices like yours that are actually saying the stuff out loud and articulating for us, right? Now it feels doable. Now it feels I don't feel alone anymore. And as you may know, Nam and I had the great fortune of getting to sit down with Satsarup Maharaj.
Yes.
And Satsarup Maharaj, like all of us, we're complicated people. He's a complicated person. He's a complicated figure.
Yeah.
One of the things I am so struck by is I feel like was, in his own way, an early voice
Of reality.
Of reality.
Yep.
And that gave permission. He gave permission for us to look at the warts a little bit.
Yep.
And I see that, since his time.
Yep.
I feel like now it seems like almost like some of his early writing feels, I don't mean this as a put down, but it feels almost quaint in terms of, at the time, what was so cutting edge.
It was cutting edge.
Has now become so much more normalized.
Yes.
Still not fully there,
No.
but I feel like, your work in this arena, I feel like, other devotees, I could mention by name, I think Mahatma Prabhu talks about this a lot.
Yes.
I feel like His Holiness Satchidanand Swami has been so courageous in some ways of talking about things like authenticity and vulnerability. And there's so many others. I don't want to leave anyone out. But I think it's those courageous voices that give folks like me permission now to say, oh, I can get into this stuff and I'm not somehow veering away from Krishna consciousness, or I'm not in Maya or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you experienced that also?
Totally. I feel like so many people are so happy to be able to talk about these things. I even have reading groups, and I have
Like book club reading groups. Yeah.
Then we're reading these two books, Finding the Gap and Entering the Gap. And I have all men's groups, all woman group, and I have a mixed group. And the men are really into it.
Yeah.
I am so impressed with them, and they're really opening up so much, and they like it. They come.
Can I give you a little hot take as a man? I'm not like I'm not qualified to speak on behalf of all men, but
Okay, what did I?
No. I want to echo what
I didn't
you're
say
saying.
anything wrong.
No, I want to echo what you're saying. I think men, and especially devotee men, and I'd love to hear from others if this resonates or if you wildly disagree. That's fine too. But here's my take on it. I think we are desperately looking for permission.
Yep.
We are desperately looking for permission
Yep.
in a movement that is still uber masculine.
Yep.
Some might even say toxically masculine if you're into that terminology. And there are many of us that are just like, especially as we get older, that are just like, I want to work on this stuff.
Yes.
I secretly maybe struggle with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it.
And then someone talks about it and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
We can read a book about it and we can, and then a space is created and
Yes.
I think we need it. We need
and
it.
I think men are almost trained to hold things in from very childhood.
100%. Oh, yeah.
When they're 3 or 4, don't cry. Don't be a baby. Be
Yeah.
a big boy.
Yeah.
Girls when they cry or they hurt, be careful. You're going to hurt yourself. Boys, just pick yourself up. Come on, it's just a little scratch. What's your problem? They're not given permission to feel.
Yeah.
Men are not given permission to feel, and they feel as much as anybody else. They feel, but they've gotten really good at suppressing all their feelings. And what does that suppression of feelings do for us in a movement that is all about feelings and relationship? if we can't do feelings in this world, how are we going to go back to the spiritual world that's all about feelings and emotions?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not judging anybody, but how are we going to do that? It's really about emotions and feelings. And Krishna doesn't need what we do. He wants our mood. What is our mood when we're doing it?
Bhavagrahi Janardana,
What is it? What's our
Yeah.
mood,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? And somebody can do a simple thing, but their mood is so sweet. Like, I love the story of the Brahmin and the cobbler. And you know who was going to go back to Godhead first?
Right.
And the Brahmin was, you didn't see Vishnu. You couldn't have. You could just see his attitude, right, in how he confronted Narada Muni. How dare you say I'm not going back? You didn't see him.
Yeah.
You know, and the cobbler was like, oh, my Lord was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. How wonderful is my Lord? He's so amazing, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah. But going back to that sort of the
Yes,
root
men.
is of that like insecurity kind of root thing. I mean, even in that story, that kind of, if we want to look at it, and admittedly, there's sort of limits to this like gendered language.
Yes.
But if we want to look at the sort of the Brahmin's attitude as a more sort of macho attitude, right? What's behind that macho attitude? What's the insecurity? What's the doubt, the self-doubt, the whatever that I have to protect myself, so I have to come off as, oh, I know what I'm doing, right?
And prove myself. Yeah. But I have a theory that men are more sensitive than women. Oh, yeah, more. Let me see. No. That men are more suppressed than women.
More suppressed.
Yes.
Like we suppress ourselves, or we're suppressed by society.
When you just more suppressed, whatever's suppressing you. And I had I had this conversation with an Indian reporter once, and he said, "Really, why is that?" I said, "Because women know they're suppressed."
Whoa. That's a bit of a mic drop moment. Yeah.
I'm fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Lies we tell ourselves, more lies we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit to, so, you know, and we don't have to go into detail, but like this course, you know, was a blessing, and not even a blessing. It was a blessing for you. It opened things up.
Krishna sent it.
It was
right
the time.
Answer to my prayer. I was praying to him, if you want me to look at whatever this is you want me to look at, you got to help me, because I don't know what you want me to look at. It was Krishna.
Yeah.
For sure.
And since then, you've opened yourself to other other healing modalities, other frameworks, whatever you want to call them, right? Techniques.
Yeah.
You know.
Who created all these techniques? Excuse me. Who's the scientist behind all the sciences?
L. Ron Hubbard? I don't know who. No. Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah.
The intelligence of the right? The power of the powerful.
And they all fit in together.
So you're seeing, if I'm understanding correctly, you're seeing, hey, these modalities don't need to be something separate from.
They aren't.
No.
He's saying, look, I'm going to flood the market. Just pick anything. Do something that's going to elevate your consciousness. Do something.
Yeah.
Elevate your consciousness. If you can't do this, do this. If you can't do this, do this. Do something here. He's just flooding the market, and people take what they can take.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard someone once, I'm forgetting now the source, so I can't, attribute it properly. But I appreciated the example. The example that this person gave was that, like, when you're building a temple, let's say you're building a temple, there are certain principles of engineering that work.
Yes.
They work whether you're building a temple or whether you're building a school or whether you're building a hospital, whether you're building a factory, whatever.
Exactly.
And so we as devotees or aspiring devotees, we don't need to figure, I need to reinvent and figure out what are Krishna conscious principles of engineering. There are principles of engineering.
Exactly.
That work.
Yes.
And that Krishna has given to us.
Exactly.
To use our intelligence to employ. And then we make our temple, and then we add the Krishna factor.
Exactly.
And so I'm thinking of these modalities in a similar way. What's your opinion of sort of mixing methods? Because there are, I feel like especially these days, and I'll explain a little bit what I mean by this. I feel like especially these days, especially in the social media age or what have you, there's so much more rapid exposure to things. So I can take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and sprinkle in a little Enneagram and maybe some NVC over here and Do you see that as, again, part of this kind of Krishna's given them all to us, so we might as well just sort of take them? Or is there maybe a danger to kind of jack of all trades, not going deep into anyone?
Well, I don't know if I would go that far, jack of all trades, but I would say there's always a danger. I mean, the illusory energy is very powerful.
Yeah.
And she can get us even when we're within the movement and working very hard for Krishna. I mean, I was thinking I was a good devotee, and I was just insecure. So, and I mean, I was.
Well, couldn't you have been both? You were a good devotee who was insecure, no?
But there were hidden agendas in that. Why was I working so hard? What was I looking for?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You
weren't interrogating that. What was going on.
I'm not. I think I'm a pure devotee, but I have hidden motives.
Right.
I want appreciation. I want validation. I want all these things, but I'm pretending I'm beyond all that.
So there's that lack of integrity. There's that disconnect.
Yeah. And so there's always a chance for the illusory energy to come in. So if we think I can just do everything, it needs to be integrated. So if I can integrate it, that would be great. But if I'm just all over the place trying to fix me and do this and do that and try this and try that, just trying to fix me, it's not about fixing us. It's about we need to find ourselves and wake up.
Right.
So it's more about what helps me to understand my machinery.
Right.
What helps me to understand my machinery so I can manage my machinery.
Yeah.
So my machinery is not running the show, so that I can manage my machinery. What's going to help me to do that? And I mean, we can get distracted sometimes, or even if we do get distracted sometimes, we might be able to use that later on in our life.
Right.
It really depends on our desire.
Yeah. Well, we can take these modalities, I'm hearing also, we can take these modalities and kind of turn them into something else, right? We turn them into a little Band-Aid quick fix, or we turn it into something performative.
It's not a Band-Aid quick fix. So each of these modalities is deep and has a science to it. So we can use them to help us to understand, again, our machinery.
Yeah.
However, it's not the modality in and of itself, but our ability to integrate and to really look deeper. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Am I impatient? Is it that am I trying so many modalities because I'm just so resistant of where I am right now that I just want out?
We can also externalize a lot, right? So it's like now I'm just like, oh yeah, now it's all about the modality. So that becomes a substitute for the work. The modality was supposed to help us do the work. Now it's a substitute for the work.
And sometimes coming into Krishna consciousness, coming into the movement becomes a modality to fix our suffering.
Right.
You come in and people say, you just chant Hare Krishna and all your problems will be solved.
Yeah.
I had a community where they were saying that, and someone committed suicide. And then the neighbors were saying, well, I thought you said, if you chant Hare Krishna, all your problems will be solved. What happened here?
Yeah.
So I said to those people, well, maybe you should stop saying if you chant Hare Krishna, all your problems will be solved. It might just bring up the problems that you really need to look at and work on.
Yeah.
So, sometimes are we coming to Krishna consciousness to fix our suffering in this world? Most of us came with a little bit of that, yeah, for sure, I want to fix it. But Krishna consciousness is not a fix. It's not a fix. It's finding out who we really are. It's not something we put on top. It's about uncovering and finding out, who am I? So who am I now, and what do you want me to be now, Krishna? Like, who am I now? Because we go through so many identities. Who am I now? What do you want me to do now?
Yeah.
I forgot to say my prayer and ask Krishna, who do you want me to be now?
Who do you want me to be now? I love that prayer. Who do you want me to be now? Yeah.
I try to remember that and say that, because what do I know?
And I like pairing that, if I can, I'd like pairing that with this idea. I've heard it from different people. I've heard it from my own gurus and mentors, that Krishna loves me now.
Yes, right now.
Right now.
Immediately. Yes.
Immediately.
Yes.
Present tense.
Yes.
Right now. Not Krishna will love me if only ba.
Exactly.
Krishna will love me when I am.
No.
So it's both of those. It's the prayer of who do you want me to be now?
Yeah. It's
Who do you want me to like? What version of myself am I growing
Yes,
into? And
yes.
also Krishna loving me right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
He loves me now as I am, and we're always growing. Even in the spiritual sky,
Yeah.
we need to grow. You know why?
Why?
Krishna's ever expanding.
So then we have to.
We gotta keep.
We got to keep up.
Yeah, we gotta keep up. Otherwise, he's gonna be like it.
How can we be static in the most dynamic, right? In like dynamism itself. Yeah.
I have one thing about that because, we're so into knowing. Really, in the scope of eternity, what do you think we know? Like, how much do you think we know?
Yeah, right.
Like nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we want to know. We go to the astrology. We want to know what's going to happen here and there and what's
Sure,
going to
yeah.
happen. We want to know everything. And we come to Krishna consciousness. We got the absolute truth. Now we know everything. But interestingly enough, Krishna's the all-knower,
Yeah.
but he loves not knowing. He loves, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Jatila's going to come. What am I going to do? Oh my gosh, Radharani's mad at me again. I can't do that same trick. I have to do something different. He loves not knowing. He loves creating.
Yeah.
He's ever creating. And sometimes we forget that we are co-creators and we can create.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. I love that so much. Can we switch gears just a
Yes,
little bit?
I got
'Cause
you off track there.
No, we're right on track, and there's so many tracks. I want to acknowledge an aspect of your many layered identity or identities. You're a mother
Yes,
and a grandmother,
yes.
and I want to ask you to speak a little bit to your journey as a parent, because it is something that I know is not always easy to talk about. But to me, it's such an inspiring story. As most viewers will know, I did not grow up in the movement, so I'm not technically like a second gen Hare Krishna kid or a Guru Kuli. But because I started visiting New Vrindavan at a young age, a lot of my closest friends are.
Yes, they are.
I was gonna say were, but you kind of always are, right?
Kind of always are.
And so there's something about your story and the story of your kids and your relationship with them that just really, really speaks to my heart. So would you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was that go-getter, fanatical devotee, and I did whatever I was told. And and also we were taught about renunciation, like you shouldn't be attached to your kids. I didn't kiss my kids. I just, you should be renounced. So I did my life backwards. I was renounced in my earlier part of my life, and now I'm working all that out in my later life. I think I finally am getting somewhere. However, I was asked to go out and collect money, and I left my kids when they were 1, 3, and 5. My daughter was like 1. I look at kids now, and I'm like, what was I thinking? And I was like, oh, right, I wasn't.
And just to clarify, because there may be folks that just don't have a context. When you say
Okay.
left, what do you mean?
I went on the road for 10 years, living in a van. I would come home every 2 or 3 months for 2 or 3 days and, have to somehow clean my husband's apartment, do 10 loads of laundry, bond with my kids while we were cleaning. And
Just for those 2 or 3 days.
2 or 3
literally,
days.
We're talking about days.
That's it. And
then back on the road.
and load the van. So there wasn't really much time.
That
for
wasn't
the
a
kids.
break. That wasn't.
That was not a break for me. For the people who weren't married and didn't have kids, it was a break. For me, it was not a break. It was hard.
And then you got back in the van.
Yeah.
And you're crisscrossing the country, and
Yeah.
you're doing what? Fundraising, essentially.
Fundraising. I don't even call it Sankirtan.
Let's just call it what it is. Fundraising.
It was fundraising. Yeah.
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 And this happened for years.
10 years at least.
10 years.
Yeah.
So your daughter was 1 when this started. Your youngest.
Yeah. 10 years in the van, and then I did fundraising in other countries.
Internationally.
Yeah, so I was still away from them. So we didn't really have a close relationship, I missed, there were no I missed out on a lot of golden moments with my kids. And I didn't really start repairing my relationship till my youngest was 19 and my son was like 23 or 24. Yeah. So that's when and it was when I hit menopause and I hit the brick wall. And yeah, and in that first class that I took, it was a 3-day class. On Saturday night, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On that Saturday night, I called my son because that was part of the thing. You know, you got to really work on relationships. That's a valid point. So I called my son at 10 o'clock at night on Saturday night. And my son says, I have another book called Revealing the Heart, The Practice of Compassion. In that book, he talks about, you know, he said, I thought it was some emergency. You called me at 10 o'clock on Saturday night. You never called me unless you needed me to do something. I'm like, oh my gosh, was that bad, huh? And so he didn't believe that it was going to last. You know, he just thought it was a one-off thing. But then I kept calling him and kept talking to him and kept connecting with him. And all my kids and I are now really close. In fact, I'm going to see them all tomorrow.
So they were surprised. Was there anger also?
Oh, yeah, well, yes, there was anger, and I allowed them to all speak and tell me their stories and just listen to their stories and not justify, not defend, nothing, just hearing, oh my gosh, wow, that must have been really hard. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I actually apologized to my kids 4, maybe 5 times. In the book, the other book that you don't have here, Revealing the Heart, The Practice of Compassion, there's a lot of my story with my kids in there. Yeah. And then at the end of the book, I apologized to my kids 4 times before I wrote that book. And each time it kind of sunk in a little deeper. And the 4th time, it kind of hit me in the gut. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. It just kept hitting me deeper and deeper. I mean, I was sorry when it was up here, but when it was down in my gut, it was like... And then I was going to try to explain how I apologized, but then I thought, why don't I just show it? So I wrote other letters to them and apologized to them again in the letter. And then they wrote back to me. And in that letter, my daughter found out something that I didn't know that she didn't know about what had happened to her. She cut her eye when she was 4. And yeah. So, you know, when she found that out, she says, oh, I didn't know that. That's part of the story you didn't tell me. This is in the book. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm so glad that you could, you know, express yourself and say these things and, you know, and that we could come to terms with all these things. Yeah. So
there's a story in and I think it might be in the
Revealing the Heart, The Practice of Compassion.
But the story of the socks.
Yeah, that's in that book, the sock story. My son wrote that.
Could you share that story here?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, my son wrote his story for the book. And what it was is, I think when he was 5, I didn't really have that much, I didn't really ever buy anything for my kids because we didn't spend money. But, you know, once in a while, maybe I got them something. And I got him a pair of socks. His birthday's in February. And my son says, these socks were so big, you know, they fit my teacher. And so my teacher took laughed. So
he was in Gurukula.
He was in Gurukula.
You were on the road.
I was on the road. I gave him the socks for his birthday and left. And then his teacher took the socks for himself. You know, my son said, boy, she left me. She doesn't love me. She left me. And now she gets me socks that don't fit me. And, you know, it's like she really doesn't love me. She doesn't love me at all. And he told me that story. And
years later, he told you that story.
Years later, that when we did the reconciliation when he was in his 20s and I was in my 40s. And I said, do you know why I bought you those big socks? And he said, no. I said, your birthday was in February. In winter, it was freezing cold. And you had to walk like 1.5 miles down the road to the Gurukul. And your dhotis would freeze in the air. So I got those socks so that you could pull them all the way up your thighs so that you would be warm. He got a little tear in his eye. So I loved my kids the best I could then, and I love my kids a lot more now because I have a connection with them, and I can express that love to them. And, to me, that has a lot to do with Krishna consciousness. If I can't love the people in my life that Krishna gave me to care for, how do I think I'm going to love Krishna? If I can't love this soul inside of me and I have to berate myself and denigrate myself and shame myself, and this is the part of Krishna that he gave to me to take care of, how will I ever love the all of Krishna if I can't love these parts that are in my life? So I'm working on that.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I'm not often speechless on this thing. I don't quite know where to go from there.
You asked.
I know.
I
I should have known better than to ask.
Oh my gosh.
This may be another tearjerker, but
Okay.
you for X number of years now, you've been going to Barsana, and you volunteer your time, and you work on a project there. That's
I have been.
You have been.
Yeah.
You have been. Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, it was. I started in 2007. January of 2007 is when I left the Now Bhakti Center, and I had a realization that if I stayed in the temple, I was just going to do the same thing and work and be a crazy workaholic lady. And I didn't see any old age program in ISKCON at that time. And I didn't want to end up being an angry old lady. So I thought, I think it's time I learned how to take care of myself. Mm-hmm. And so I left the temple and didn't know what I was going to do. So one of the devotees bought me a ticket to India. I went with Gauravani and his family and the other devotee. And it was my first time to India. So we did a lot of different things. I went to all the places because I didn't think I would ever go back again because we never went to India. That was my first time to India. We didn't go to India because New Vrindavan is non-different from India. And why would you want to spend that much money when you're right here living in Vrindavan? And I was like, okay. So I went, and it was like eye-opening to me because I was really going through some reconciling with my past and with my relationship with Kirtanananda, and what about all that, and how to integrate all of that into my life. And so, I went to many different places, and then I did tell Radhanath Maharaj, they're not even letting me carry my purse here, and I'm not used to this.
Meaning the devotees.
Yeah, the devotees. Yeah,
Yeah.
Is there any place I can do some service? And he said, if you go to Barsana I camp, they'll let you do service there. I said, okay. And so I went up to Vrindavan, and one of the devotees showed me different special holy places. And I just was like, to be able to touch the grinding mortar of Krishna and, go to those places, it was really, really, really special. And when I got a cab by myself to Barsana, and I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where the I camp was, but I was just walking down the middle of the road, and a devotee came up, and I said, I'm looking for the I camp. She says, oh, yeah, you can come. And she let me sleep with her and her sister. We slept in the bed together, and I stayed there for, I don't know, till the end of the camp, 5 or 6 days. And I was cleaning and changing the beds. And there was a doctor there, and I told him that I had cataracts when I was 28. I had them taken. I goes, well, why are your lenses so thick? I had Coke bottle lenses. I said, well, I didn't get lenses put in. He said, oh, well, maybe we could do something about that. He said that. But then I saw him, the same doctor, running around at one point, and he was like, oh my gosh, 234 and 243, the two numbers got mixed up, and they have different eyes, and oh my gosh, he was freaking out. And I'm like, you're a doctor, an eye doctor, an ophthalmologist. You can do doctor things. I can do number things. So I said I would come the next year and help with the numbers, and I would help, with the appointments.
Right.
Yeah. So I started coming, and I actually worked in the eye camp for 15 years, helping with the eye camp.
15 years.
15 years. Yeah.
It's been that long.
I didn't realize it was that long, but I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
15 years I was in the eye camp. Last two years in COVID, I didn't go.
Okay.
And then last year I didn't go. But I did help. I made the whole chart and all the appointments from here. And I oriented the guy for like 4.5 hours on the phone, 2 separate phone calls. And I divided my job into 6 jobs.
6 jobs.
Yeah. I said, I think that's why I'm so stressed out. I'm like, this is too much. But when I see something that needs done, I just do it.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Our Bhakti Center days also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So my workaholic. So, yeah. And the last year that I did it, it just got to be too much for me. It was very stressful because sometimes the protocols change multiple times in one day. And the buck stops at my desk.
Right.
And so it's like, it was just too much. I got sick the one weekend, and then I had to come back. And I usually start at 6 or 7 in the morning to make sure everybody's oriented on the Monday. And I wasn't there that Monday because I was sick, and I came at 10 o'clock. And by that time, 100 people had gone through, and they had made a bunch of errors. Because, they knew how to do their thing, but they didn't know how the camp ran. So
you were holding all of that.
And going crazy.
Yeah.
So, and then I realized I don't think I can do this anymore. This is too much for me. And then, I didn't come last year, and they have a hospital now. And so I'm like, okay, you guys, you can do this. You get your protocol, and I did go this year.
Yeah.
I went to Barsana during the eye camp. And, I didn't think anything was there inside of me, but when I got there and I met this doctor, the first one that I had met and I paid my obeisances, I burst into tears, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I had a realization, because I thought that I was going to Barsana because I had something important to do, right? This is something that needs to be done. And I know that Radharani tricked me, because I wouldn't have come to India that many times in a row. I would not have come to India had there not been a reason for me to come, some service for me to do, because why am I going to just come there to tour? I need some service to do. And so, and I realized she tricked me, because she didn't need me to do that, but she wanted to purify me.
Yeah.
She wanted to purify me. And they've been working on me.
She wanted you in her hometown.
Yeah.
Not just...
I know.
Wow.
It's a very beautiful town. The first time I went there, it reminded me of New Vrindavan in the very old days.
Really?
Simple. You could smell the cow dung. You could smell, it had the smell of rustic living. It's got a little bit more industrialized, but not as much as Vrindavan. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, you guys are great at tricking me here. Thank you. They're great. Yeah. So, but in that time of going for the Barsana Eye Camp, there's a lot of other things that happened and changed. And I've met a lot of people and talked to a lot of people and connected with people and given seminars and classes. So, there was a lot that was happening that I wasn't realizing that they were orchestrating. Yeah. They're very tricky.
Amazing. All right. As we sort of wind down our
Okay.
time together,
Okay.
you want to do some rapid fire? Want to do some lightning round?
Okay.
Yeah?
Sure.
I feel like we need to. I feel like I need to breathe,
Oh
and
my
we need to like maybe lighten.
Okay, lighten it up.
the energy a
Okay,
little bit.
okay.
So let's do some lightning round. Okay.
Okay.
So just keep it really
I'll do
quick.
my best.
Let's not overthink it.
Okay, okay.
Ready? Mm-hmm. All right. Are you an early bird or a night owl
Early bird.
by nature?
By
Yes.
yes.
Sweet or savory?
I don't know. Probably savory. People say I'm sweet, but I don't know if I am.
Do you forgive quickly or do you hold a tiny little grudge?
I've learned to forgive pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I've held a lot of grudges, but yeah, pretty quickly now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a texter or a voice noter?
Text.
You don't get into the voice note thing?
I can't read the voices. I have to listen to them. I need to see the words, then I can at least see what you said and don't have to go back and listen to it.
Nam, what's the average length of my voice notes to you? 5 minutes?
Oh my God.
That's the average.
Oh my
That's the average.
Oh
They're
no,
bad.
text.
They're bad. Okay. What is one devotee expression that you just still cringe at to this day, that you just can't stand?
Okay. That's Maya. Or the temple life is your spiritual life and your home life is your material life. That one I really
that one.
hate. I
Yeah.
hate that one.
Okay. Be honest. Have you ever used "I'll pray about it" to buy yourself some time when you were asked a question you didn't know the answer to?
I don't think so.
Okay. Have you ever, when giving a class and you were asked a question, used "That's an interesting question. What do you think about that"?
I don't think so.
Those are autobiographical because
Okay.
I do both of those. So
Okay.
I thought, I was trying to look for some,
Okay.
some validation
Validation?
and didn't find it. All right,
Sorry.
no problem.
Can I say something about the class?
Yeah.
Someone posted a picture of you giving class in Delhi or something.
Dorka?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it went kind of viral with the devotee because of the VDG stuff.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know about this.
Okay. I
So
didn't either.
wait, Nam, why did it go viral? It's just a picture of her giving class?
Yeah, but it's in India, so everyone was like, "Whoa, see, they do allow women to give class."
Oh, okay.
Oh man, that's like embarrassing.
Oh.
It went viral because it was like, look,
There's a woman
there's
giving
a woman
class.
giving class.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And people
How
are listening.
revolutionary.
Whoa, my gosh.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, let's not walk down that road just
Okay.
right now, but because we have important questions like, what is your go-to comfort snack?
Well, in
Do you love these ChatGPT questions I have?
okay, in India it's makana.
Oh, that's a good
Gosh, in my my go-to comfort food here, probably dark chocolate.
one. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
We're gonna edit that to say dark carob, but no, just kidding. Like anyone cares about that. If you still care about the carob versus chocolate issue, maybe this is not the podcast for you. I don't know.
Okay.
Just saying. All right. We talked about your kids. What's one word if I ask all your kids right now, one word they would use to describe you?
Oh my gosh, one word they would use to describe me. Available or no? Let me see what they say. That I love them. That's not one word.
We'll let you get away with it.
Thanks.
I think you've earned that. Do you believe in inbox zero? Do you know what inbox zero is?
No.
Inbox zero is, I'm trying it right now. It's very difficult. I'm trying it for my work email.
Okay.
Nam is inbox zero?
Oh, inbox zero. So you have zero unread messages.
Correct.
Okay.
No, not just, not unread, but like you have zero.
Like every email that you get has to go somewhere.
Yes.
Okay.
You do something with it. Like you don't carry, an inbox full of messages.
Okay. Well, I'm probably midway because
Okay.
I go through and delete and categorize things when I have time.
Yeah.
But I do get it down to a couple hundred in different places. I delete a lot of my emails and then I make sure that none of them are read. But sometimes I leave some unread because I don't want to forget that they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, we can talk offline about the inbox zero.
Yeah, but
It's a new modality to introduce into the mix.
Yeah, but having thousands of emails that you don't read, why even having an email?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're on your way to
I'm pretty
inboxing.
much. I answer my emails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic wand, you can make one problem in ISKCON go away tomorrow. What would it be?
Shame.
Ooh,
Good one.
very good one. Okay. You get 5 minutes with 25-year-old you. What are you going to tell her?
Chill out, girl.
That's it.
Well, I have 5 minutes. You want me to talk for 5 minutes?
No, but like the gist of it. The gist of it. The gist of it is chill out.
Yeah, well, chill out and like, well, I'm telling my 25-year-old self, she's not going to understand what I want to tell her. I'm just going to tell her, chill out a little bit. Just calm down. Just relax a little bit. You're lovable. You're wonderful. You don't have to prove yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like that.
This is my keychain.
Okay.
These are my keys. Do you know what that?
If I can see it.
Do you know what that is? That keychain?
It looks like it could be a deity.
No, it's a part of a computer.
Okay. My grandson would have known that answer.
But the reason I'm showing it to you is that was a gift, I think, from Rukmini Devi.
Okay.
But it was on behalf of both of you. Oh. And it was when we were on the Bhakti Center board together. And I think during one of my couple of brick walls that I've hit, but during one of my brick walls where I felt like it was time for me to step off of the board of the Bhakti Center, it was a time where I remember coming home from spending hours at the temple and Krishangi asking me something about the deities and realizing I never made it into the temple room. Exactly. I was just in some meeting.
Yeah.
Or many meetings, right? Anyway, at that time, I remember in Rukmini Devi, she gave me this gift, and it's a part of a motherboard. And she said, never forget the mothers on the board.
Oh my gosh.
And I always, and I use this for my work keys.
I love it.
And whenever I look at this, I always remember you, and I always remember Rukmini Mataji and like you all kept me so sane.
Never forget the mothers. By the way.
Never forget the mothers.
Never forget the mothers. You all have mothers. Never forget the mothers.
I've been blessed with many mothers in my life, and you are among them and very high up on that list. And so thank you for all of the
being
the
really
love
savory,
and nourishment.
Being very savory on the board.
Being very savory on the board. Integrity. But also very sweet. And thank you for this. Is there anything that we haven't, I don't mean to rush us or anything, but is there anything that we haven't covered that you just would love to chat about or to share?
Gosh, we went around the world a couple of times there.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it in its own way, but
yeah. Just if anybody wants to get my books, I have a website that just got newly designed.
Beautiful.
It's called aheartconnection.com.
We'll put it, yeah.
And I have, if you live in the United States, you can buy soft paperbacks from me.
Okay.
And I have Kindle copies of all my books, and I have audiobooks of all my books. And all the links are right there on that website.
Perfect.
Yeah. Some wonderful devotee at the Bhakti Center helped me to get my Kindle versions done. And some wonderful devotee in New Vrindavan did my audio recording.
That's great.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's so wonderful. Thank you for spending this time with us.
Oh my gosh. So much fun. It was just like being together with you, like questions you might ask me.
Yeah, this felt very familiar.
Very familiar, very natural.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Very real.
Real. Got to be real before you can be realized. Thank you all so much for joining us on the Namarasa podcast. What is it, Nam? Like, subscribe, comment. Yes. I always forget that one because that's one I struggle with the most because some of these comments are mean. Some of y'all are really mean. but that makes it kind of fun sometimes too. So like, subscribe, comment, engage. This podcast is for you. And until next time, thank you so much for joining us. Hare Krishna.
Haribo. Thank you. You think we went around the world?
I think we could have kept going.
Krishna, Hare Krishna.